Good morning. Welcome to TERRA at Home. We're outside here, and we are with Dani from TERRA, and we are just a few days away from the first day of fall for 2015. Hard to believe, but we know we've kind of slowly been feeling it in the air, right? So welcome to the show, Dani, and you have some really good ideas for us. So what we're going to talk about is a little bit about decor, right? And doing it from the front door and going all the way into the house. So we're starting with our doors today. So let's talk a little bit about all the elements at play here with your front door.
Sure. So this is your first impression for your guests or for anybody driving by your house. It's really important to make a good first impression, especially this is our last little hurrah before winter, right?
It is, it's true.
Yeah.
With color.
And it's lovely, right? We should appreciate what not everyone in the world gets to experience.
Exactly.
So the easiest way to kind of decorate your entranceway for fall is to come and grab just some pre-made planters from TERRA. They're already all set for you to go. You can take them, if you've got containers at home, you can just sit them right into your containers there. We've sort of taken all of the guesswork out for you.
Yeah, it's good. But that's helpful, right? Because we know this time of year, this is when all of our other pots that we've had planted since the spring may be looking weathered and kind of
tired.
lost their brightness, their color.
Yeah.
And it's time to just, if you have just pots at home, as you say, or you need to pick up a new pot, out it comes, in it goes.
Yeah.
Done.
And even, if you want to just leave them in the pots they're in, that's fine too.
Yep.
And then what we've done this year that's really kind of exciting, well, we've done it in the past a little bit more this year. We've got all of these really great accents, so you can kind of come in, choose what you like, whether it be, some nice yellow sticks, the wooden cones here, even behind you there's some millet, to personalize it and make it what you want. So you're buying a pre-made, but you can stistill make it your own.
That's right. Add your own little accent pieces, right?
Yeah, so I mean, even here we've got, these are just little cattails. They're super cute, and you don't even really have to think about it.
No.
You just sort of stick them in your container.
And look at that, how easy it is. And we always have so many little accent pieces. Like, it really just makes it.
Yeah.
And again, that's how you can sort of differentiate yourself from your neighbor.
Exactly.
Right?
And you have to kind of see, like, you might look at that in a store and kind of go, I'm not really sure what to do. But you put them in these planters and they add so much to it.
Lots of character. And those are the pieces that you can take out and keep for next year and add to maybe a different pot, right?
Yep.
So we always have to think about the door as well too, right? And the big focal point is making that really nice wreath on the door, whatever it may be. It's fun to use the fall colors for that.
And there's so many different choices. You can go a little bit more natural. You can do lots of colors. There's so many things available depending on what your door looks like or what your taste is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then all the way down, you got to have the cute doormat. And those are that's one of the things I look forward to every season is changing my doormat. Fun, but it is. I love it.
It's true, right?
Yep.
It's just a little bit of excitement. It's something that freshens your space.
Exactly. So this is one great idea, all of this encompassing, but lots of different patterns and ideas as we will move along the way. We're giving people different ideas for different doors. So let's go over this way.
Sure.
And we're showing the next one that we have here. And again, we'll start with the planters.
Okay, so this is a little bit fancier, we'll say. This is, you can come in any of our TERRA locations. We'll have lots of these pre-made for you, different styles. There are custom planters. We do them in nice containers for you.
These are beautiful planters.
Aren't
You
they
get that
pretty?
really rusty red color.
Love it. And that can go through all seasons. It doesn't have to be just for fall. If you've got those containers at home already, you can bring them in, choose what you want for it, or give us even a theme and we can plant it for you.
I think people like that. Some people have so these beautiful front porches or big epic long driveways, or maybe you just have this great back porch in your condo or your apartment, and you have that planter that you want to use. That's the best part. Bring it in here, and then you guys can do something fun with it.
And we've got some very talented people that will plant it up for you.
Absolutely. So again, door and looking at the wreaths, lots of colors.
Yeah, this is a little bit more traditional with the pumpkins and.
Yeah, I like this mat. Got this one on my list, I think. So this is actually really good. So just really, again, I haven't seen these. These are cool. So just sort of think of your theme, of your colors. Obviously, we know they're the typical fall colors, but you can really go off the grid and go with, pinks and mauves, because we do have those in our mom's collection as well, right?
And they're beautiful. And, people don't necessarily think of those for fall, but they're all around you in the landscape. There's still all the wildflowers, all of your hydrangeas faded to that nice pink color. Why not bring that into your decor as well?
Exactly. So some really nice options here. And again, just looking at these, it gives you some ideas, right? Okay, so we'll move over to our last door here. And this is fun because you guys it's also about ease and just coming in and out if you need to, especially this time of year. Kids are back in school, people are running around trying to make their homemade comfort foods, and you want to come in and out the door. You guys put together kind of a fun package.
Yes. So this package takes all of the guesswork out for you. You can come in, just choose your color of mum, and basically you're set to go.
Okay.
It includes the scarecrow, the corn stalks. You get a nice straw bale, a pumpkin, a mum, and even a little bundle of corn there. So it's really simple. You can just put it down and you're done.
Yeah, you're good. And that's the thing. Take it all home and try to work through it and some ideas. Obviously, you can pick up a few extra things. This is fun because this doormat is so cute. It's more whimsical. You can see how kids would love this. More like really very bright colors and cartoonish, and why not, right?
Yep. And I love this wreath. It's my favorite. And it looks so nice with that.
I love this. This is the idea. So again, looking at the different pots, even as simple, if you want, just throw mums all around. Put them in your garden, put them in pots. We're again talking about the fact that we've seen a lot of colored pots throughout the season, through spring and summer. Why not use that again for fall? Different colored pots look so fantastic.
Yeah,
right?
Yep. And you can put them actually right in your garden too.
Yes.
So even if you don't want to plant the mums, if you've got colored pots, you can put them right in your garden, put your mums in them, and it just adds another level to your garden.
Yeah, I like
more
that
color.
I really like that idea a lot. And what's great about all of these wreaths that we were showing as well is that they can be moved inside the home as well.
Yes.
I know I buy a lot of them often, and I change my wreaths inside. Like I have one in my bathroom or my hallway. And so, you're starting with your landscape, you're moving to the front door and the front porch area, and then you can carry the colors right inside the home, right? So obviously, as we know, this time of year, we're also looking at people coming over eventually in a few weeks as we move towards Thanksgiving, right? So you're trying to make a very nice entranceway for, of course, a lot of people coming into your house.
Yeah.
And as you said, even if you don't have anything else in the house, people driving by are going to see this. So I love the idea of lots of different ideas. So accessories, I think, is the key point here that we want to tell people, right?
To really make it your own and be able to customize it for your tastes. And you know what?
Special. And exactly. And a lot of people like to get their hands dirty too this time of year still, and they can plant your own. So take a look at some of the ideas that we have and sort of think outside of the box a little bit. You can use some of your own ideas and then some of what you guys have, or just grab and go, right?
I mean, we try to give you as much inspiration as we can when you're in the store, and that's what we do. And hopefully you can take that home with you and create your own masterpieces as well.
Exactly, and of course all these little guys floating around, all kinds of wonderful things to throw outside with your bales of hay and straw and just make it fun. And then you'll slowly transition into Halloween.
That's right.
Very good, Dani. Some great ideas. Love seeing all the different options for our front porch. That's it for now. We'll have more TERRA at Home to come.
Live color fully at TERRA, where color lives.
Heritage perennials. Look for us in the blue pots.
Good morning. Welcome back to TERRA at Home. We're back with Dave Maciulis from Natural Landscape Group. Nice to see you again.
Good seeing you again, Leslie.
Beautiful property here in Hamilton, and we're snuck into their backyard to take a look at what it's like to be in a relatively pretty much almost always shady backyard,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Right, because we have this huge canopy above us, very, very mature trees. And thus you gotta have to think about what you're planting, right?
Yeah. Well, growing up around obviously this area and a lot of ravine lot settings, mature tree settings, especially within Hamilton, you started having to learn a lot about the horticultural side of shade gardening. You know,
Yes.
everybody loves sun, everybody loves flowers, but I really grown to love shade gardening, and my affinity for hostas, I became quite a hosta nut. So
Sure.
a lot of the plants that you'll see behind us, there's a lot of different varieties of hostas among other interesting plants.
And I think what's great about hostas is that there are so many different varietals, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can get the most giant big snowball ones to the tiniest little ones, and they
Yeah.
all come in different color tones, and I think that's what gives you a lot of choice at least, right?
Yeah, you know, I work on a tone of the garden, lime green, light green, blue green, then you get into your variegated colors. But there are some interesting shade perennials as well, like pink astilbe. So you get this shade-loving perennial that blooms a pink head. Mind you, at this time of the year, it's looking a little spent.
Right.
But then you get foliage color, something like from epidedium, which has, you know, a green foliage leaf, and then it starts turning color like red in the fall.
like
But I really work on the tones, the leaf structure. So from a fine textured Japanese painted fern to the boldness of a blue angel hosta, or the variegated green and white hosta, some people commonly known as the variegated hosta,
Right.
or undulata variegata if we want to be Latin about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. So I guess a lot of people, if someone was moving into this house and they said, hey, you know what, I want to do something with my backyard, it might be a little shocking to them that a lot of the flowers they're used to using in the sun are not allowed to be used back here because they're not going to make it.
No, and that, you know, to some people's disappointment when they start giving me a list of everything that they like, and I say, sorry, you know, it's not really going to work back here. Yeah, there is this frown that I get,
Sure.
but then when I open up the other side of the spectrum, which is shade loving, but then one key factor I tell them, and they get really happy, even though it's not their plant, is I tell them low maintenance. Yeah, shade gardening is very low maintenance. You're dealing with slower growing periods because they're not getting as much sun, not as much watering because you don't have a lot of heat hitting the garden and water evaporation through the soil. And really about the perennials that I've just mentioned, some of the ferns and the hostas, or there's pulmonaria. These perennials, they come up. They do their thing all year round because a lot of it's about the foliage, a little bit about the flower. And at the end of the year, chop it back, that's it.
Nice
There's
and
no special deadheading and special fertilizers or different types of care that you need. It's a wide spectrum of shade gardening, is very low maintenance, and people love that.
That's the good news. So, and a lot of times, as you say, people are just so focused on all these beautiful sun plants, and then they realize there are lots of wonderful options out there for shade.
Yes.
And with the low maintenance, it's kind of looking like a bonus.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
It
so
is.
as we look around this garden, it kind of is very whimsical the way it's designed. It's a kind of like a little secret garden in a way. It's, I mean, I know kids would love it. I know the wildlife is loving this the way this is as well. Obviously, they have bird feeders and wonderful things, but there's something very special about the way this has been designed.
Well, there's interesting spaces,
Yes.
areas of conversation, maybe a pause point, the focal points of using statuary. So these are things that kind of resonate with the client. The bird bath, for example, because you can hear the wildlife behind us.
Yes.
So for the bird watchers, you know, birds love to do their little bird bath work.
They do, they flop around.
Yeah, and really it's when I try to get an understanding for what the client's needs are, you know, am I going to be free form in style? Actually, there was an influence left behind from an old swimming pool that was once here. We're actually standing on the old pool deck, but it was a curved, rounded configuration, and then the follow through of that was through curved beds and something that feels a little bit more
cool.
swaying left to right.
It's neat.
Yeah, I have other clients that want very strong contemporary lines, and then we're using rows of plants and the boldness of hosta, and then the soldiering of ferns along a pathway. So you can kind of really, in any type of shade plants that you want to use, you want to use a very free-form traditional style or a very contemporary modern style. It works any way we want.
Oh, I love it, and there is a lot of interesting points here with a yard such as this. And we talked about these big trees that we have around us. One thing that you were mentioning, we have a lot of walnut trees here in Hamilton,
we
and
do.
one of them, a huge one, right here
Yeah,
in front
right
of us.
here on this property.
I wish we could show it to you. It's giant. It's basically like comes right up over top of us, and it is something else. So you're giving us some interesting points about growing underneath a walnut tree as well.
Yeah, I had to learn, and it was interesting that in our own hometown, looking at all the walnut trees that are on almost every corner, I started realizing that I had to learn on the horticultural side what survives these walnut trees. Walnut trees have this ability to produce, because their Latin name is juglans, so black walnut is Juglans nigra, and it produces juglanic acid. And so this oozing blacks, you know, what people like say, there's like black soot all over my patio and it's all over my furniture. And the tree is exuding that. So, you know, underneath it, it's trying to prevent anything else from growing. But there is a wide selection of plant material that will grow. You know, things like the hostas. You know, even though daylilies are more prone to be in sun, when you kind of get the backside of the tree, you can plant some daylilies, yews, hemlock. Cypress, you know, just to the side of me is a beautiful cypress growing lushfully right behind us. And I just found that I was experimenting with different shade perennials, and I'm finding the bleeding hearts were doing fine, the ferns were doing fine. So I kind of have this custom Dave's list. And I adapt it throughout my my go-to list. And so when I'm looking at designing under the walnut family or any nut tree family and shade trees, my go-to list has been working out quite well for the past 25 years, and happy clients.
Well, you know what? It's funny because a lot of people wouldn't think about those big trees up there and what's going to be falling from them or emitting from them, and that is why sometimes it's hit and miss. People will invest a lot of money in plant life and then find that going on and have a lot of questions.
That is the biggest thing that happens. I get clients calling me a couple years after they went and tried to figure it out for themselves, and it's like, get a professional design, someone that's got some strong horticultural background, help them guide you. And if you are a determined DIY, do-it-yourselfer, I'll give you the right tools on paper to say, here's what you should and should not do. Here's how it's going to look. You know, with our 3D visualization software, we can show them how this will all look and put them in the right direction. And then right off to TERRA you go, get your plants, follow the plant list, and have success.
So that's good, right? So that's the thing. You can do it from scratch to completion, or you can take people part way and still help them with that design process. As you say, this part's very important. And if you're going to invest and you want this to stay and to grow and mature through the years, that's the best thing to do.
Exactly.
So give some good advice. Awesome. This is good because you want this. You want to grow something like this. This is so beautiful and peaceful to be back here. Dave Maciulis, Natural Landscape Group, and I know you can help out a lot of folks out there. Good stuff. I love it. I'm not leaving. This is fun. This is beautiful. We'll be back with more TERRA at Home after this.
Live color fully at TERRA, where color lives.
You've sat under them and built forts in them. You've swung from them and fell out of them. You've even fallen in love under them. Trees have always held a special place in our hearts and memories. A natural beauty, trees will grow with you and your family and bring color and nature into your world. For your assurance of quality, look for trees and shrubs with the Medallion plant tag. Medallion plants, locally grown, the pride of Niagara.
Good morning. Welcome back to TERRA at Home. I'm here with Chef Mark from La Piazza Allegra restaurant in Hamilton. And you are bringing us into your stir-fry world today.
Yes.
Your version of a stir-fry, because there's just so many options, right?
A lot of options when it comes to stir-fry. I mean, the main idea behind today's recipe is just understanding the elements of a stir-fry.
Yes.
And that's the tricky part. Everything else, it doesn't really matter what goes in.
Right.
It's how it's cooked and how you cut and how you prep. That's the main elements of a stir-fry.
Good idea, because that's where I think people make a lot of mistakes, right? And a lot of times people overcook it. By the time they serve it, it's lost all its color. It's a wilted kind of droopy mess. It's just
mushy,
overcooked, right?
and away we go. So what we're going to do today is strictly a vegetarian stir-fry. I bought a little piece of tofu along, some firm tofu here, and we're going to throw it in as cubes. We've got some bean sprouts, some broccoli, a couple different kinds of peppers, some celery, some fresh peas, baby bok choy. I have a little bit of ginger that I've shaved off of here. And then we have some rice stick that we're going to use more of a garnish than anything else. Okay.
Yes.
Now the key is not only the way you cut the thing, so if you look at the peppers and stuff like that, the way I've cut them, it's nice and thin, okay? They're not too thick, not too chunky. We're gonna do the same thing with the celery. The other thing is the actual wok that you're using, okay? A nice carbon steel thin wok will give you a ton of heat, and that's what you're looking for. Stir fry should be done over extreme high heat very, very quickly.
Okay, and that's another mistake people make. They sit there with a low heat, let it just kind of cook away.
That's right.
Don't want that.
You're not looking for a saute, you're looking for a quick fry. You really want to seal in all the water, because especially when you're talking about a vegetable stir fry, it's a lot of water items here.
Sure.
So it's you want to retain the water in there. You don't want it to bleed out and start changing color and soften up.
Right, okay.
Okay, so you want it very, very hot.
So what if you don't have that? Because that's on my Christmas list, but what if you don't have that pan? What's a standard pan that someone might have in their kitchen they could use?
You want it, if you're going to use a sauteing pan, you just got to make sure that, it's blazing hot, and you want to keep your heat as hot as possible. So you want it on the big burner, keep it on high, and don't lower it at all.
Okay.
The minute you lower it, you're going to get into that sauteing as opposed to quick frying.
Okay, all right.
Okay?
Yeah, makes sense.
All right, so we have our tofu here, and we have our celery. Let me cut the celery first. Just gave it a quick rinse.
And this is a great time of year to be doing this because vegetables are plenty.
That's
and
right.
Again, you can use local. They taste better. Nothing like having a fresh pepper, a certain crispness to it that you get when you pull it right out of your garden, right?
That's right, that's right. Now what we're gonna do for oils, I have sesame seed oil, which is gonna give me a nice smokiness. And then we have some canola oil or grapeseed oil. And what that's going to do is that's going to increase the smoking point of it. So you will see some smoke come out of it, but you don't want it to catch fire, so we're going to do both at the same time.
Okay. And a lot of people ask about the oils. What oils do I use? And so I love using the sesame in combination with an oil as well because it does give it a ton of flavor.
It does. It gives a lot of
away.
flavor. And then we're going to start, you got to start thinking about the vegetables you're going to be putting in.
And the order of, right?
The order of.
Okay.
So the broccoli, all I did is cut in flowerets.
Yeah.
Okay, I did not blanch it or anything like that, so I put in the tofu, the celery. I'm going to throw in the green peppers in a minute.
Okay.
I got our ginger. I'm going to throw our ginger in.
Yeah, that's good.
I have some garlic. I'm going to put some pepper, a little bit of salt. Now, we're not going to put too much salt because I did bring a soy sauce along with us.
I was wondering about that. All right.
So you want to hang on to that, the amount of salt. You can always add it. It's harder to get rid of it. Okay? And again, nice and hot. I'm going to move this around. Now, what I'm doing is I'm starting this off with just the oils, but I do have a little bit of water over there. And if you ever go to an Asian restaurant and you see above their woks, you'll see taps. And what they do is they add a little bit of water, and that helps keep the cooking process going, start greening up those vegetables. But they're adding it in small doses here and there.
Okay. I have noticed that. It is incorporated right into their kitchen, as you say, and they're just constantly adding. Okay.
We're going to throw in our peppers.
So because this time is of an essence here, and you need to have everything prepped ahead of time, and if you are using rice or a noodle, you need to have that cooked and timed out properly as well, right? So that's not going to sit around once everything's done.
Now, the traditional way of cooking this rice stick is to put it into a bowl with water, cover it overnight.
Oh, right, yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
It's not actually, you don't actually cook the rice stick.
No.
We're doing
So
it a little
that's
bit different. We're just going to, we're going to fry it up in some oil, and what it ends up doing is end up being like a puffy noodle.
Yes, that's good.
It's really nice. So we'll throw our peas in there.
Love the fresh pea idea. Gotta have fresh
you
peas
gotta have
while
fresh
we can.
peas. Exactly.
So
Stay
good.
away from that frozen stuff as long as you can.
Yes.
And you just keep moving it around.
I tried your little flipping technique in my kitchen the other day.
How
Didn't
does
work
the
out
kitchen
well,
look?
I'm going to tell you. I'm like, Mark can do it. I can do this. I've been hanging around him long enough. It was not good. That's why we have utensils, people, and we have all of our special tools.
Oh, a good wok pan will have a nice bevel on it like that.
I might be able to do it in that.
And it's nice and deep, so.
I think I did it with the wrong ingredients in the wrong pan.
So what we're gonna do now you can see that it's starting to slow down a little bit.
Yes.
And again, when you're cooking, it's a transfer of heat, so you need something to transfer it with.
Right.
So this is where I'm gonna add a little bit of water.
Okay. Now, I've yet to do this in my stir fry is add water, so, but I know that they do it, as you say, so this is.
And you just keep it on nice and high and keep it going.
Okay.
So we have some baby bok choy here. And I'm just gonna give this a once over. I'm gonna throw in all the bottom half of the bok choy. I'll keep the leafy stuff, and I'm gonna keep the bean sprouts for the end.
Okay.
Okay.
Very good.
And we have that soy sauce, so we're going to add some of that. Now this is going to change the color of it as well.
Sure.
Add salt, changes the color. But again, very, very high heat, okay? You want this going as fast as possible. And the idea is that you are retaining the essence of the vegetables themselves.
Yes.
It's just a real quick fry.
You still want to have that little bit, that perfect texture with the vegetables, right?
That's right.
You want to have that still that little firmness to them, and almost a crispiness, but still like they have.
Yeah,
kind of cooking
hot
a
but
little bit.
firm.
Right.
Hot but firm.
Yep. Oh, so good.
Yeah.
So good.
Now again, chicken, beef, anything like that. If you're doing chicken, you put it in a little bit earlier.
Sure.
If you're doing beef, you put it in, I would say 3/4 of the way, because you don't want it
Okay.
overcooked. You don't want
Right.
to get tough. And when you're frying beef, it will get tough. Now, one of the cuts that I would like to use for this is, if you were doing beef, would definitely be that skirt or flank steak what we've
Right.
done.
That's what I
okay,
use.
that's a
Yeah,
really
that's
nice one.
perfect. Okay.
And if you're using shrimp, you want to put shrimp at the very,
Very
very
end.
end.
So they're all done.
Shrimp,
Quickly.
calamari,
Boom.
anything.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll come back, and it's going to be done in minutes. Be right back.
Live color fully at Terra, where color lives.
I am a truth seeker.
A storyteller.
A dedicated volunteer.
I am a caring neighbor.
A customer's best friend.
And a client advocate.
I am a survivor.
A social media junkie.
A proud father of 4 and problem solver.
I am the Hamilton Spectator.
I am the Hamilton Spectator.
The Hamilton Spectator.
I am.
We are the Hamilton Spectator.
Welcome back to Terra at Home. We're back with Chef Mark, and our stir fry has been cooking away, so we have to keep it going, right? Because it's high heat,
High heat,
quick,
quick.
plate it, eat it.
That's right. So now I'm throwing in the tops of those bok choys. I threw in our bean sprouts here.
Okay.
And the bean sprouts, again, full of water, so real quick on the fry here. I'm gonna wilt down those leaves a little bit. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put some oil into the wok again, and we're gonna fry these up real quickly. Let's get this out.
So while we're plating that, just a reminder, you can grab this recipe on our website at terragreenhouses.com, as with all of our recipes that we have had over the years.
All right.
Oh, looks great.
Now let's get this back on, and let's see if we can fry up these noodles real
So
quick.
we're getting a little bit of canola oil's fine.
This is canola oil, yeah, and this is just to fry up these noodles. This is
Sure.
not for any flavor or anything like that. It's
Right.
more of a garnish that we're gonna be doing.
Right.
Let's see if we can get this to go. You want the oil nice and hot,
Yes.
and then throw it in, let it do its thing, and we're pretty close to going on
It's
that.
fun. I'm sure a lot of people haven't really tried those necessarily, so it's nice to try something different, right?
Yeah.
That's going to be good. And that's the best part about stir fries, is if you really are trying to keep your diet on a low carb spectrum, you can actually knock out, you're adding some tofu in there, it's giving some texture, but you can knock out the rice, any type of noodle. You don't need to have it if you don't want to. Have a little bit of that, it's kind of fun though.
There we go.
It's amazing how quickly that cooks up though.
Yeah, just clean up that pan.
It's great. And this is vegetarian, and of course, as you mentioned, shrimp, steak.
Shrimp, steak, chicken. Chicken you just want to put in earlier, but
Sure.
and again, you probably want to use those chicken thighs for flavor.
Right, exactly. So good, so fun. That's awesome. So just remember those few techniques, and you're going to have the best stir fry, still with lots of color and texture. Thanks, Chef Mark. That's awesome.
You're welcome.
Try it this weekend. Very good, very healthy. Good stuff. We'll be back with more next weekend. We'll see you then.